Joining us on Pirate Radio Live, good to talk to and good to see former Pirate Radio intern, now the voice of the Binghamton Black Bears, and does more with that organization. He is a multi-time champion. He is Brooks Hill. What's up, Brooks?
What's up, man? Yeah, it's hard to believe that we won our third championship just about 2 weeks ago.
Well, the clock struck midnight for Cinderella, but
That it did. That it did. I went.
I
I went back and listened to you and Shirley's critique.
thought it was
The rest
great.
of the night.
I mean, it was so. Be honest. When did you come up with the line?
So I had done a podcast here locally in Binghamton probably about a week before, and I will say the last 2 years I have kind of stumbled on the call. The first year we won the championship, it was still a 1 goal game, like with the net empty, and the puck was in our end of the ice.
Oh
So
man.
I was still trying to do actual play by play of what's going on. And then the horn sounds, and you're trying to speak over everybody. And then the next year had a little bit more time, still messed up. But this year, I realistically, I told the interviewer that I'm going to have what I want to say written down, and it probably took me until Thursday night to actually have it written down. So probably like a day before the championship, I knew what I was going to say if the opportunity presented itself. And fortunately, we were up by two, and with 15 seconds left, you could kind of sense that it's not going to happen for the other guys to mount the comeback, and then you're able to paint the picture.
The line was fine, but sticking the landing right when the horn sounded, that was the ultimate for me.
Well,
That
I,
made
I
it
appreciate
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I learned from a true professional in you clip.
Well, I don't know when I've ever stuck the landing, but I appreciate it, Brooksy. Brooks Hill joining us. Brooks, Canes, Canadiens. How about that series? I thought Carolina was never going to play again. I thought they were just going to keep playing overtimes last night. But what a game! What a series! We had a rally by Buffalo from down 2-0, but Montreal wins it in overtime. So, am I right, Brooks? Montreal had their way with the Canes in the regular season. Is that right?
They're actually had the most wins against the Hurricanes out of any team in the NHL, and
Well,
that was three.
so how you feel about the matchup?
I feel like it's good matchup. I think sometimes you look at the schedule and you find out if you're going to compare the regular season matchups where that really fell in the calendar. Sometimes right before you get to like the Olympic break or coming right after that 2 week break, you see the Canadians, and it's kind of at that point you would consider it like a throwaway game that you're not really too concerned with the result. Um, I will say the one game that sticks out the most is the one in Raleigh where it became a slugfest. And, both teams trading chances. Hurricanes had a lead, then they blew it. Then the Canadians had a lead, they blew it. Then the Hurricane, like, you go back and forth like that. But that was also during a time where Freddie Anderson wasn't playing good hockey. But right now, he's playing the best hockey out of any goaltender in the entire world. And that's something that you can actually say because his numbers back that up. And, it'll be 12 days off by the time we get to Thursday next week. But hopefully, everybody has rested and recuperated. And I think that they're going to have a lot of jump in game one. And I think game one of the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be monumentous for the Hurricanes.
No, I agree. And I'm tired of talking about the rest versus rust coming out flat or coming out hot. But I mean, it is a big factor. No, I don't know if any team has had as much of a layoff as the Canes have had in these first two rounds. I'm going to say no because they're the first team to go 8-0, whatever, since what
80
Gretzky or whatever.
yeah, I think he was 85 or 86 with the
Yeah,
Oilers, but they're the first team since the NHL changed to best of 7 in every round of the playoffs
right.
to
So it's
go
never been
8-0
done.
at the
Yeah.
start.
So
So that part of it is absolutely true, and it's a little unprecedented. But then on the other side, Montreal's played two game sevens in their first two rounds.
that's crazy. So they played 14 games to our 8.
Correct, and both of their game sevens went to overtime.
That's just wild to think about. They've almost doubled the games that the Kings have played here in the postseason. Yeah, it's going to be rocking on Thursday night. Brooks, you going to be able to get down south to any games here?
Not for the Eastern Conference Finals. I have spoke with some higher ups on should a situation present itself in June. That also is kind of centered around one of my high school friends' wedding that I will be back in North Carolina for on the 20th. Where let's just say the latest date that the Eastern Conference Finals can go is June 2nd, which means the finals would start probably on June 5th or 6th. And you try to factor in some travel days here and there between the games. And there is a scenario where it does line up with when I'm back in North Carolina, and I may or may not have to extend some time off or come in a little bit earlier to take part in some festivities.
We'll get back to the Canes in a moment. What do you do outside of calling the games for Binghamton? What is your off season like with the organization, Brooks?
So fortunately, the last 3 years we've done a lot of post championship celebration and trophy tour a little bit. Unfortunately, in single A hockey, we only cover the players' housing throughout the season, and then we start the process of trying to get the players moved out. We have exit interviews. Um, so last week I was in charge of getting all the memorabilia and merchandise signed before everybody head out, and we did some final social media interviews that we bank for the summer, and we'll release them out throughout the off season. Day to day, it's a lot of answering the phone and emails, trying to help fans out with season tickets. Um, we start the process of creating a schedule that we send to the league for like proposed dates of what days the arena already has sold out, so we can't have home games, so we need to be on the road, things like that. And then go into corporate meetings and trying to get people to become a partner with the Black Bears, just like you guys do with Pirate Radio.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's a lot more than just a play-by-play voice. Is Brooks Hill with the Binghamton Black Bears? All right, so Canes and Canadiens. Brooks, I don't know what are your kind of keys to the series, things to watch if if Carolina is going to have success the way they have the first two rounds, they're going to do what in this series?
I think they're going to continue to remain true to rolling four lines of offense with the forwards. Their fourth line has more ice time than any fourth line out of the four teams that are remaining in the NHL, which I think the longer you play really does help out that nobody's really like worn down. As you said, Montreal has played 14 games already to the Hurricanes 8. So the little small nagging injuries, Hurricanes have had time to, kind of work those out of the system. And it's only the big lingering ones that you're kind of worried about that like have to get addressed, like surgery, things like that. Um, Montreal's power play will be the best that we've seen so far in the postseason compared to Ottawa and Philadelphia. So the PK is really going to have to step up as well. Hard to say really step up because they've been great and they've been phenomenal. But I think the Hurricanes also need to try to get it done on the power play. Montreal is the most penalized team that's left in the playoffs.
Hmm.
So special teams going to be really big. Well, the Hurricanes have really dominated 5-on-5 this off season, or excuse me, this postseason, and that's where they've separated themselves from their competition so far.
I'm excited about the venues, Brooks. Carolina's known to have one of the. I heard Steve Levy say in a sport where home ice is really not a factor, Carolina has a home ice advantage, which was cool to hear a national guy say that. I asked Mike Maniscalco last week his favorite place to call a game outside of Lenovo, and he said the Bell Center. He said the setup's great and the atmosphere is awesome. So it is going to be just two great environments to watch hockey in this upcoming series.
I think so. One thing that's great about Lenovo Center is how packed that lower bowl is, and that really does provide a ruckus atmosphere. And with a southern market like the Hurricanes, you see a lot more common fans like you and I, getting involved in the lower bowl when you're in Canada, and one of the big critiques of being in the Canadian market is a lot of the lower bowl are filled with suits and a lot of corporate partners and entertaining clients. You're not getting your everyday Joes out there. And obviously, the Canadians, the original professional hockey team, they have a huge arena, the largest in the NHL, and they are going to pack it to the brim, not only for their home games, but also for their road games as well, with watch parties. And, they are trying to take back hockey as Canada's sport. And unfortunately, the Olympics this year kind of ripped it away from them, but they're going to do everything they can to try to give their team an advantage in a spot where really the Canadians have not played the best hockey this year on home ice. They've been a better team on the road.
No hockey tonight, Brooks. It'll be game one between the Golden Knights and Avalanche coming up Wednesday, Canes and Canadiens on Thursday. Any chance for Vegas in their series against Colorado, or do you think it's going to be the Avalanche in the finals?
So you know what? Last week when we talked, I was 0 for 2 on my Western Conference predictions. I have not forgotten that. And you know what? Vegas has been a pest in Colorado's side the entire season. It's kind of been like their kryptonite, I would say. Sometimes you just have their number. Um, I do think Colorado is a very good team, and I think they are probably the best team that's left that are not the Hurricanes, and it might be even a little bit better. But at this point, you never know. There's four teams left, and the four teams that are left definitely didn't luck their way into the conference finals. So I think Vegas definitely does have a chance. I think if everybody stays healthy for Colorado, Colorado advances. But if somebody gets hurt in a key spot, then Vegas is going to take the opportunity. And Tortorella has been definitely the topic of discussion the last couple of days in the NHL with his recent actions. But I wouldn't count Vegas out quite yet.
On that same Steve Levy interview that I referenced earlier, he talked about Colorado and their weakness being goaltending. And I'm not saying every game is this way, Brooks, but generally speaking, like, would you rather be Carolina, where at max you're giving up like 2 goals, and if you score three, you feel like you're going to win pretty much any night if you're Carolina? Or would you be Colorado, where maybe you'll give up three, but you can score six? So, what we might find out in the Stanley Cup final, right? And again, maybe I'm overgeneralizing, but it seems like that's the kind of matchup we could see if those two teams make it.
I think that's a very fair assessment if that is the matchup that indeed happens. I think that the Hurricanes are probably not going to get into a slugfest and score, 6 or 7 goals continuously. And it might happen one game,
Right.
but I don't think it's going to be like a routine like it kind of has been for Colorado. But that's also something that Colorado has made their bed with, that, hey, we do not have above average goaltending. So we have to be able to put the puck in the back of the net this amount of times to feel confident. You kind of have to like moneyball it a little bit. It's like, okay, if we can get to 5 goals in a playoff game, Colorado thinks they're going to win. If they're not up to 5, then I think the number doesn't tilt in their favor a whole lot.
And yeah, the Canes rarely give up many shots. I don't want to look ahead, but that would be a fascinating Stanley Cup final. But business to take care of before then. We can talk about that if we get there. Brooks, how long do you think this Canadian series goes? And do you have Carolina winning it?
I do have Carolina winning it. They're, I believe, minus 275 to win the series, according to some sports books.
I took
And
them 3 weeks ago plus 220 to win the Eastern Conference. So I got a good
okay,
number.
yeah, that is a great number compared to what it is right now. And I think they're minus 200 for game one against Montreal. And I think the big thing here is you go out and you win game one, and you try to put to bed the storyline of they just fall apart when they get to the conference finals. Like it just wears on them too much. Well, now that they've had their rest, and if you can go out and win game one, I think that really kills that narrative, even if the Canadians were to win the series. But I do think the Hurricanes are going to advance, and I do like the Hurricanes to make this one quick. And I think the Hurricanes get it done in five.
Man. All right. Brooks Hill joining us today on Pirate Radio Live. Brooks, this is our third or fourth, second, third, fourth chat during the Stanley Cup playoffs. Hopefully we can keep it rolling, man. Appreciate you joining us as always.
Absolutely. Thank you guys and appreciate it. And hopefully the Hurricanes can get this one done.
All right, Brooksy. See you, buddy.
All right. Thank you, man.